Stepping off the bus, I immediately noticed that a lot of people are around us. In hindsight, it should have been obvious. Of course lots of people will be downtown on a Saturday afternoon. Ooh. Hanako retreats close to my side and I can feel her hand clutching my arm tightly. Her body is held against mine and her head is bowed so low that her hat hides most of her scarring. So, where shall we go? A bookshop? Hanako's present and my other general living expenses have pretty much drained my budget, but I should be able to afford a few books. There's something I tried to reserve a few funds for anyway. For a second, I think Hanako didn't hear me, but then I looked to my side and noticed her nodding almost imperceptibly.
Okay, do you know of one?
Actually, I do. We passed a few when Lily and I were looking for your presents. Hanako's expression clouds a fraction. I got to remember to stop bringing up her birthday.
You both spent a lot of time?
Or maybe I just misjudged the situation. We wanted to make sure we got the right present after all. Hanako smiles and blushes a bit. It's a small treasure when she does. Anyway, there should be a bookshop just up ahead. Do you want to check it out?
Sure.
The crowds start to build as we head towards the bookshop along the raised walkway. Hanako latches her other arm onto me as well, making our progress a little slower. As we walk, the sound of the traffic makes me think it's a possible distraction for her. I was wondering, Hanako, have you thought yet about when you're going to learn to drive?
Driving?
Yeah, you're kind of lucky in a way. There aren't a whole lot of students in Yamaku that are allowed to drive. It's not the best topic of conversation, but I want to try to distract Hanako from the situation. She's really highly strung right now. Then again, all I've really done is make her feel awkward, since she's probably never thought about it. I wish I hadn't said anything. Before long, we are before one of the bookshops Lily and I passed during our search. What kind of self-respecting bookshop closes on Saturdays?
Bookshops don't make much money anymore because of the internet. Maybe they just had to close over weekends?
She seems pretty knowledgeable about technology. I guess it's a pursuit that would lend itself well to someone who enjoys solitude. Huh, I guess that makes sense. It's easier to find books online. Anyway, it looks like the idea is shot. Anything else you'd like to do?
If it's not a bother, could you show me where you bought my present?
Sure, not a problem. It's not far from here.
Ah!
I head off in the direction of the store, only half sure of its exact location. I don't want a repeat of the last time, spending half the day walking around aimlessly. Here we are. Othello's Antiques.
It's small.
Well, yes. It took Lily and me some time to find it.
Can we go in?
I don't see why not. It's open. Hanako pushes through the door and enters before me. Once again, the store is empty save for the store owner. His face drops a little when he sees me. Oh, you're not here for a return, are you? Wait, that's not the girl you had with you last time.
I totally forgot. It was fucking Sean
Yup,
Connery.
that's it. No, we're not here to return anything. We were just in town and wanted to have another look in here. The store owner considers this for quite a long time. I guess it's not used to high school students coming to his shop on a regular basis. Might this friend you brought gifts for? That's right. They were presents for her. The store owner turns to Hanako, who freezes on the spot like a deer caught in headlights. He moves to address her, but stops before doing so, looking a little taken aback. He catches himself staring and looks to the side, addressing us indirectly. His expression is awkward and tense, as is his entire body. I want to be mad at him, but I know full well that I had the same instinctive reaction when I first saw her. First surprise, then curiosity, then an awkward look away as I dealt with what I'd seen. Hanako looks less panicked than before, but I think the feeling she's giving... Excuse me. But I think the feeling she's giving off now is worse. It's not anger, nor annoyance. If anything, it's one of apology. You're lucky there, young lady, to have friends that care about you so much as they do.
Thank you.
I totally can't nail his voice. It changes. You know what? I'm not. If I, it switches from like the Count to Sean Connery to like
Yeah.
just it's so weird.
It's okay. Do
If
your
I had,
best.
yeah, gambare. If I hadn't spent so much time with Hanako, I wouldn't even have realized that she said anything. Then again, the store owner's mumbles are hardly clear either, thanks in part to being directed away from us. Hanako strikes out into the store, gazing in wonder at the various items on display. She finds the doll section and spends lingering minutes studying each and every one. It's a side of Hanako I've only barely been introduced to. I was astonished when Lily said she liked dolls, and even more so to find her collection sitting on her dresser. She looks a little better now that she's distracted and out of the store owner's sight, but I'm still quite off-put by the whole experience. I might have my own problems, but I've never had strangers react to me like that, as if I was something completely alien to them.
This is a nice shop.
Yeah, it's not what I expected. Do you want to buy something?
I didn't bring any money.
Well, we can always come again. Now that I know where to find it, that is.
Well, we can?
Of course. We can come here as often as you'd like.
Thank you.
You don't need to thank me. I almost forgot where this place was. I don't really think either of us completely believes in what we're saying, but rather, we're just repeating what we think we should say.
Can we go back to the school now?
Sure thing. Well, let's go. As we leave for the bus stop, I see the store owner peek through the curtain at the back of the shop. I'm not really sure what that glance he gives to her says. It feels a bit weird, and the fact that Hanako didn't see it is both a relief and a bit frustrating. Hanako and I stop walking once we reach the concrete area between the dormitory buildings. There was barely a word said between us on the way back from the city.
Well then, goodbye.
Do you want to have some tea or something? How about a game? Hanako shakes her head embarrassedly.
I'm tired. Maybe later? I've got homework.
She sounds a little depressed. Hanako obviously does want to do more, but I suppose she would have a bit of schoolwork to catch up on. She's missed a few days of lessons. Homework. Thanks for reminding me. I've got a stack to do as well. I guess I'll see you tomorrow?
See you, Hisao.
Before I can say goodbye, Hanako has turned and begun walking towards the entrance to the female dormitory building. I look at the door she disappears through for a bit, before going off towards my own dorms. Today was a tiring day.
Oh. Oh. Ooh.
I woke up, took my pills, had a nice shower, quickly slipped on my uniform, ate a tasty breakfast, grabbed my bag, and headed off, all as per my usual daily routine. It was only arriving in class that the normality of the day was thrown off. After taking my seat, I watched my classmates trickle into the room over the next hour until every empty seat was eventually taken, other than Hanako's. I can never get used to the idea that she just doesn't show up to class every now and again. It feels all the more worrying now as well, given that Lily's left. As Muto continues to drone on, I find my gaze flickering every so often over her seat, as if she might appear there any moment now. Nobody else seems to care at all about her absence, but they have little reason to. Hanako being absent from class, after all, is perfectly normal. Or at least, it was. Her attendance hasn't been all that bad from what I've seen in my time here, but it was apparently much more spotty beforehand. This is also an ominous time for her to be gone. It's the day before her birthday, and my suspicions are starting to rise after the breakdown she had in class when it was mentioned. An increasing amount of my thoughts is taken up by how I can't help her. But in the end, I feel like I can't do anything. The bell heralding the beginning of lunchtime rings out, shaking me out of my thoughts. A collective sigh of relief can be heard from the class, though Muto looks quite put off. He dislikes being interrupted in the middle of his exciting lectures, after all. Just when I'm wondering what I should do on lunch break, given that Hanako and Lily aren't here, the solution presents itself.
Afternoon, Hee-chan!
Afternoon, Misha, Shizune. You both look as bright as ever.
Hee-chan wants to know if you'd like to have lunch with us today.
Sure, it'll be good to have some company. The cafeteria hums with activity, much like my old schools did. Yamaku is different, though, in how strangely civilized the lunchtime rush is. What one would expect to be an unruly mob chomping at the bit to get to the serving area is rather a neat and organized line. There's a small amount of jostling, and people's heads are often craning around to check on what's happening up ahead, but it's pretty subdued. This is due, no doubt, to the very serious rules regarding such matters in the school. The same strict discipline is observed when students move in the hallways or come to and from their dormitories in the school gate. While the reasons for it may be slightly off-putting, I've come to quite like the sense of order that's enforced in the school. I didn't really like being told by Shizune and Misha to get their lunches, though. I feel a little used as I take the seat at the table where they're sitting, plunking their food down in front of them. Sweet bread and strawberry milk for Misha, a bowl of ramen and juice for Shizune. I heave a sigh of relief as I put it all down, after the significant difficulty I had carrying it all in addition to my own lunch.
Thank you!
What? #1 trip. Misha claps her hands together before popping open the wrapper and digging into her bread ravenously. Shizune simply gives an appreciative nod before giving her steaming ramen a stir and blowing on it a little to cool it off. I open my own lunch, another packet of sweetbread, and take a bite after washing it down with some juice. The bread is very sweet, so much so that I end up forcing myself to stomach it just to get the experience over with. Midway through, I decide to take a break from the difficult task and ask what's on my mind. So, I'm guessing you two had a reason to drag me down here. You two seem to always have an ulterior motive after all.
What are you saying, Hee-chan? We don't have any ulterior motive.
Her mouth is full of sweetbread as she speaks. It's a pretty unpleasant sight. Shizune looks a little grossed out before going back to her eating ramen. I wait until Misha swallows what she has in her mouth before speaking again. You're not buttering me up to make me work with you after school.
Nope.
Not trying to extract information from me that I might not want to give?
Nuh-uh.
Fine, you win. I guess you just wanted to eat lunch with someone as intelligent and handsome as me, then.
That's it, Hee-chan. You got it.
Shizune looks unimpressed as Misha finishes signing our conversation and sucks in the last of a long noodle as she signs her own thoughts.
Shi-chan says you shouldn't be so suspicious of us. She's just doing her duty as a class representative after all.
How is she, are you doing that? As much as I hate to admit it, it looks as if I still have trouble communicating with Shizune. It should be a simple matter of keeping eye contact with her and addressing Shizune instead of Misha in my speech, but when somebody else is doing the talking for her, it's a surprisingly difficult task.
It's the class representative's job to ensure everybody's doing alright in class, isn't it?
Not really. Wait, how is making me eat your Oh. Wait, how is making me get your food ensuring that I'll go well in class? Shizune huffs and adjusts her glasses disapprovingly.
So this is the thanks we get for giving you companionship during lunchtime?
That's a total dodge of the question. Wait, hang on. How did you know that I...
Lily's away and Hanako is absent, and since those two are the only people you hang around with... You also made it kind of obvious to see.
Ouch. I may well have done so, but she didn't need to rub it in. Maybe this is payback for before. Right, well, thanks. I appreciate it, and that isn't sarcasm. The two nod and we get back to finishing our meals. It feels a little embarrassing to be accompanied just because they notice I was lonely, but it isn't as if they're strangers either. It isn't long before I finish the last of my bread and start on the last of my juice, and as I do so, I find my mind wandering back to what I've been thinking about before the two interrupted my train of thought. It feels like I'm the only one in class that so much as acknowledges Hanako not being there. It felt like this the other times she skipped class, but now it's even more acutely annoying. Not actually. Does nobody care if she's happy or not? Have they just written off any possibility of helping to make her better? Even Mudo doesn't try to keep her in class, and I'm still not wholly convinced by his reasoning.
Hey, Hee-chan, is your juice past its expiry date?
What?
You were pulling a weird face, like this.
As if it were needed, Misha mimics my own expression. Her exaggeration makes me grimace, though. Shizune at least takes some amusement from it. I was just thinking about Hanako.
Oh?
Misha's interest is piqued, and so is Shizune, once my words are interpreted for her. I'm just worried about her being absent so often, especially now though, what with her birthday coming around. The memories of that incident in class are still fresh in their minds. Their faces alone are telling me that much. Do you know anything about Hanako? Anything that might help? Misha shrugs and looks to Shizune, who mulls on this for a while.
The only people she's ever talked to for more than a sentence or two are you and Lily.
Shizune may not be able to convey Lily's name in a derisive tone of speech, but I feel as if it comes through in her sign language. The effect is lost, however, after Misha's interpretation.
There are a couple things we know about Hanako as student council members thanks to the records that pass through our hands, but we can't see anything about what's in them.
Understandable. It sounds a lot like the nurse's patient confidentiality. Every time I find someone that knows something about Hanako's past, it turns up being a dead end. The only way I'll ever find out is by asking her. I don't know if she'll let me know such things, but if it's for her sake, I have to at least try.
Don't worry about it, Hee-chan. It happens every year after all.
That doesn't remove my sense of worry at all. I still feel a little at fault for what happened in class, but this feels like it goes further, even without her confirmation of that fact. Misha notes my troubled expression, her own usually happy and reassuring face dropping.
Everyone has problems they have to deal with, right, Hee-chan?
Yeah, I just wish I could help Hanako more with hers. With that, the conversation trails off on a depressing note. Eventually, Misha manages to pick the mood back up through her usually bright and bubbly antics, but my mind remains focused on Hanako. I'll go check on her later. I make sure my door is locked after dropping off my school bag. The dorms are quiet. Muto kept me occupied longer than I expected, discussing my studies after after classes, ending in pressing on me some worksheets to give to Hanako almost as an afterthought. Absorbed in thought, I'm late in registering the shadow that appears in front of me. Looking up reveals the owner of said shadow.
Oh no. That music every time.
Yep. Theme song, man.
It's like, ay.
Hey man, haven't seen you in a while.
Oh, hi.
What's with that response?
My absent-minded greeting visibly annoys him. I'd probably have had the same reaction. Sorry, I just thinking about a lot of stuff.
Thinking is a pretty poor excuse to not be aiding the war effort.
And how goes the war?
I'm preparing. Right now I need money to help with those preparations.
Oh god.
If you want me to loan you money, just say it.
No man, I'm good.
You're good? You don't want my money?
Hey man, don't look so surprised. It's insulting. I'm pretty big in the competitive bowling scene, but yesterday I found some guys who didn't know that.
So random.
What? Kenji's just like this bowling champion.
I know. Oh, that's so funny.
I'm actually a bowling master.
Like, of all the things that he could be, like, competitive at, it's bowling, which, like, requires him to go outside and, like, interact with people.
No, watch it be like just this like this
Or it's
ghetto
like Wii
back
bowling.
alley. No,
Oh,
no, it's
yeah.
just like just this ghetto back alley, and he just takes like bets, just like one shot bets.
The
Oh, man.
pins are like beer bottles.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
fairly sure that betting would be against the school rules.
School rules don't matter. This is a war situation. People these days, they have no appreciation for what war means.
So, what do you need this money for, dare I ask?
Non-perishable canned food, building materials, mostly corrugated iron and wood panels, first aid kit, camping heater, portable radio, sleeping bag, flashlight, mechanical clock.
At first it strikes me as a rather random assortment of objects and materials, but after a few seconds it clicks. Isn't that a list of materials for a fallout shelter?
Ah, so you've read a Protect and Survive booklet. It's good to see someone so knowledgeable about how to protect themselves.
You don't seriously think...
It's a non-zero possibility.
No, I'm pretty sure there's zero possibility of that ever happening. He slowly and dramatically raises an eyebrow. Well, as dramatically as one can raise an eyebrow. The chance is, I don't know, 0.1 to the trillionth place? It's infinitesimal. Yeah, infinitesimal. Besides, where can you build a fallout shelter anyway? Certainly not on campus.
It's my summer holiday project while I'm at home. My dad said I could do it.
Really?
Yeah, he thought it would improve my crafting skills and manual dexterity or something.
Knowing Kenji, his dad probably just thought it might keep him out of his hair for a while. Still, it does make me wonder what his parents are like. Maybe they're totally normal, and Kenji is just an aberration. On the other hand, maybe this kind of paranoia and fearful survivalism runs in the family.
Hey, you want to help me build it? You look like the type to be handy with tools. If I had your help, we could make a really badass bunker instead of just a fallout shelter.
I doubt that. Playing soccer before my accident gave me good footwork, but I've never really tried my hand at anything approaching real handiwork. I'm not really... I'm busy over the holidays anyway, I'm afraid.
A shame. If the feminists ever get a hold of the launch codes, I fear that so few will be prepared.
And your fallout shelter will protect you from a nuclear bomb explosion? In that case... in the case that does happen.
A fallout shelter isn't meant to protect against the blast. It's what a blast shelter is for. I thought you knew better.
My mistake.
My home's pretty far away from any major military site, so the fallout following a nuclear exchange is a bigger concern than the blast itself. What this'll do is keep the dust and other particulates away from me, my food supply, and my sleeping area. It's gotta last me at least 14 days, though.
14 days is a pretty long time.
It is. I need 1 liter of water a day for drinking, 2 optimally so that I can wash as well. Toiletry is easy enough, just garbage bags in a bin placed outside the shelter area. Food means canned supplies, of course.
Of course. And the radio is for outside communication?
Right, so I can pick up government alerts on what's going on outside. I need a mechanical clock rather than an electric one in case the electromagnetic pulse from a nuclear airburst fries it, though. 2. There's all the other stuff I need as well, like extra clothing, matches, and candles. I think I still have time to gather it all, though, maybe.
As much as I hate to say it, I'm a little impressed. He's really researched this and thought it through. Then again, I don't know if I want to live in a post-apocalyptic world with only people like Kenji having survived. What is the point of these conversations?
I don't know.
It sounds like you really know what you're doing.
Damn right I do.
It must be hard, living in constant fear like this. He hardly ever socializes either, so the fact he went bowling with others is in itself something of a surprise. This mentality reminds me a little of a certain someone. Thankfully, her fear of others doesn't manifest in such a distinct, eccentric way. One thing I know for sure is that I certainly can't tell him exactly why I haven't been hanging around with him much recently. It's late. I have stuff to do. I'll think about making a fallout shelter or something, though.
Yeah, alright, that's cool. A man's gotta do what he's gotta do after all. You should hang out with me sometime, by the way. You're a cool dude. Cool dudes should hang out together, right?
For some reason, that compliment actually feels kinda nice. The situation with Hanako being what it is, though, means that I probably won't be able to fulfill his request. For now, at least. That'd be good. I'll talk to you later about it when I can.
Cool. Later, dude.
He retreats to his dormitory room. I'd better go see Hanako. I stand outside the door to Hanako's room, hoping that she isn't in too much of a state as I nervously clutch the worksheet Muto asked me to pass on to her. It's one more reason to visit her, and it gives me something to talk about, so I suppose I should be thankful to him for giving me the task. With a long breath to steady myself, I rap my knuckles on the door in front of me. Silence. I listen intently for any sound of shuffling coming from inside, but I can't hear a thing. I knock on the door again, slightly harder. Still no answer. How strange. Scratching my head, I make one last attempt to get her to answer as I knock on the door one final time. Hanako, it's just me. Muto said to give you some stuff. For a while, the attempt seemed just as unsuccessful as the last. Just before I slip the sheets under her door, though, I hear the handle rattling. As the door opens halfway, I try to see how Hanako is faring. It's a task made somewhat more difficult by her oversized gown hiding so much of her body. She doesn't look sick, or at least not immediately so. To be honest, I'd have preferred that to her expression right now. She looks terribly tired and appears to be barely acknowledging my presence. Hi, Hanako? Muto wanted me to give you these since you weren't in class today. I hold out the loose sheets, which she tentatively takes in her hands. The way she moves is devoid of thought. Her posture is slumped in an unusual manner for someone that is so often tense and wound up. Even her eyes keep looking away from mine, doing their best to avoid eye contact. I move my head a little to try and get a better look, but she just ends up turning away. Are you okay? If you're feeling sick or anything, I could get a nurse. It feels almost pitiful to put on such a routine, get well soon act. I can't think of anything else I could possibly do for her though. She seems to collect herself a little at the notion, but only a little. Her head remains turned away, but her eyes move towards me.
I'm fine.
An awkward silence follows. As it lingers, I notice that the sleeves and the cuffs of her gown bear slightly damp stains. Her cheeks are a bit red too. Has she been crying? I see. I hesitate a little before coming out with the words I really came here to say. Would you like me to stay? I don't have anything urgent to do at the moment, so it wouldn't be any trouble. Her eyes slide away from me, and I lose any hope of an improvement of her mood. I wait for a response, but she doesn't say anything, nor give any kind of gesture. She just stands there, looking away from me. Hanako? She slowly shakes her head. Okay, good night then. With that, Hanako steps back and closes her door without a second word. More than a little worried, I retreat back to my room. Wandering up the hallway, I keep mulling over what happened. It felt like Hanako was only half there, as if I was interacting with a robot that was just doing what it was programmed to without any real thought. She was a husk of a person. This is frustrating. I had hoped that meeting Hanako would help the situation, but I feel like it's only made it harder to understand her. How am I supposed to try and help her when she's quite literally shuts me out like that? I don't even bother to turn on the lights, opting instead to simply change into my pajamas, quickly choke down my evening pills, and collapse onto my bed.
Aww.
I feel like we take one step forward and like 2 steps back.
It's eggshells all the time, man.
Once again, Hanako doesn't turn up for class. Try as I might to concentrate on other matters, this fact continues to distract me throughout the entire school day, and even as I walk through the school garden to the dormitories. I don't think today being her birthday is a coincidence either. I don't know the link between the two events though, nor do I have any idea on what she's feeling. Were it physical pain, I could at least provide some limited comfort. With something like this though, I have no idea where to start. I run the people I know through my head, thinking about whether they could help. Shizune and Misha don't know that much about Hanako, and what little they do know they can't tell me. Same for the nurse. In the end, there's only one person that knows Hanako well and would be willing to tell me anything. Entering my dormitory room, I notice something that takes me off guard. It's starting to feel familiar. With everything that's going on around me, I'm thankful that this room started to finally be somewhere I can relax a little. When I'd first entered Yamaku, it felt immediately foreign in every way, from the untouched neatness to the way it smelled. Focusing back on the task at hand, I throw my bag onto the bed as I open the top drawer of my desk. Before she left, Lily told me the number to call her on while in Scotland, and I wrote it down. In hindsight, I wonder if she knew something like this could happen. Now that she's out of reach, I realize just how much both Hanako and I have relied on her for guidance. I dig around the drawer after drawer, looking for that damp piece of paper. Eventually, thankfully, I find it nestled under a borrowed library book. I probably should have just entered it directly into my cell phone, come to think of it. Without further ado, I enter the numbers and anxiously press the call button. Eventually the phone picks up, a feminine voice I don't recognize on the other end. It's probably Lily's mother.
Oh, Cannon. Hold on. I need something crinkly. English.
Sato!
My God.
English? Suddenly finding myself unprepared, I realize I can't understand a word she says, either due to my limited vocabulary or her heavy accent. I should have anticipated this, since according to Lily, her mother is native Scot. I soldier on in the hope that she must know some Japanese, considering it's her daughter's native language. It's Hisao Nakai speaking. An enthusiastic sound of realization can be heard as she recognizes the language. My feeling is relief is immense.
Ah, you must be one of Lily's friends from school, correct?
Even so, her accent means I have to concentrate to work out what she's saying. Yes, that's right. Pleased to speak to you, Mrs. Sato.
So nice of her to find someone so polite. Lily, dear, it's for you.
Her mother seems nice, if a little over-enthusiastic given the mundane situation. There's a small silence as Lily takes her time getting to the phone. In the distance, I can just make out her mother scolding her playfully for just getting up.
Hello, Lily speaking.
You sound awful. She makes a sound somewhere between a dying animal and a yawn. The one thing I did remember to check before calling was the time zone. It'd be pretty late in the morning over there, so she really has no excuse. Not feeling well?
Just tired. What time is it there?
Late afternoon. School finished for the day not long ago.
Hanako's not well, is she?
That was quick. My assumption that she must have known something like this could happen seemed to have been on the mark. How did you know?
Because today is her birthday. I hoped she might have gotten at least a little better after coming to know you, but how is she right now?
She missed school today and yesterday. I still have to check up on her today. To be honest, after seeing how she was when I talked to her yesterday, I'm pretty anxious. I really have no idea what to make of it. Has this happened in the past? Is it related to her scarring in some way?
Unfortunately so. Roughly the same thing happened last year when her birthday came up. As far as I can tell, it's because her parents died in the accident that caused her scarring, and Hanako blames herself for their deaths.
What she says does seem to make sense. If she's blaming herself on her birthday, she may as well be ruining that she was ever born. Hanako had mentioned her stay in the orphanage to me. Maybe I should take some heart that she trusts me enough to tell me such a thing. Lily seeming so in the dark about it though, almost to the extent that I am, is a surprise. So that's why she lives in the student dormitories as well. Has she told you any more about the accident?
As close as we've come, she's very barely told me anything about what's happened. What I know about it is largely conjecture.
She sounds depressed, almost defeated. Considering the trauma Hanako must have gone through, I really can't fault Lily for not knowing. Nevertheless, she still seems to consider it a personal failing. Don't blame yourself, Lily. With everything that she's gone through... There's a long silence from the other end of the line. I begin to wonder if the call cut out before the voice of the other end speaks once again.
There is another person, though, that has been a subject of worry for me as of late.
Oh? I run through the people she could be talking about in my head. The only friends she seems to keep up very close are Hanako and me, though there is Akira as well.
That person is you, Hisao.
There's another silence on the line, but this time it's caused by me. Making others worry about me is something I've very actively tried to avoid since coming to Yamaku. Indeed, even my interaction with Hanako has helped stave off any major health problem thanks to our relaxed and slow-paced lives. What is there to worry about over me?
I apologize. I didn't mean any offense.
Sorry, I was just taken a bit off guard. Still, isn't Hanako a bigger problem at the moment?
For some time now, I've thought that the both of you may be feeding into each other's more worrying habits. I tried to amend this before leaving, but it seems to have done little.
Worrying habit?
When I asked you about what you had in mind for the future, your answer was very similar to what Hanako had said in the past when that question was posed to her. It is well and good to want to protect her, but I feel that treating Hanako like this, as if she were a daughter or someone in need of special care, is only going to achieve the opposite.
The situation got effectively turned on its head. After everything that's happened, this is the first time I find myself doubting Lily's judgment.
Oh, no, don't make us do this. Okay, so remember what you said before about, like you've never felt more like you could screw something up?
Yeah.
I think this moment trumps that one.
Mm-hmm.
Like by a long shot.
Yeah, this is big.
Oh, I don't like this. Why are they making us make this decision?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Um,
To be fair,
yeah.
Lily, at the end of the day, knows Hanako better than we have.
True.
So if
Oh, man.
So if anyone knows what she's talking about, even though, like, right? Like, that makes sense.
Well, yeah, like Lily's like her only friend, and she's known her longer than anyone.
But then on the other hand, Hanako has opened up to us more than Lily in the short amount of time.
Yeah.
But, and I'm just speaking this as a guy, if I have learned anything, it's always trust the best friend.
Yeah, and if we've learned anything from this game, we've learned to listen to everyone.
We don't know shit.
Yeah, if our own judgment is the worst.
Why? Why? Hello? Hello? Why?
Oh my god.
Why? Yes. So are we in agreement, Lily?
Yes, I think
Even though
we need.
Okay.
I think we need to listen to Lily.
Okay.
I really do.
I agree with Lily. I don't want to admit it, but she may have a point. Something else bugs me, though. And you tried to amend this? Oh, wait, our outing into the city?
Quite astute. I thought that it might help if I dragged both of you out of Yamaku and into the wider world. I'm thankful you became closer for it, though.
So she noticed that. I suppose she may well have been paying attention to us, and her hearing is incredibly good. Quite likely good enough to have picked up what we were talking about if she tried. This sounds more and more like you were manipulating us. Silence. It's a harsh way of putting it, but I have no intention of stepping back from those words.
I'm sorry. I was just worried about you.
It's fine. I guess there's more important things anyway. It's not a total surprise that she'd do such a thing. Her motherly nature can be slightly overbearing at times, but she does have the best of intentions. So you think I should think about myself more instead of trying to cater to Hanako?
That largely sums it up. Again, I'm sorry for not telling you this in a clearer way before going behind your back. I know I'm at least as guilty of being overprotective of Hanako as you, but I fear that you are neglecting yourself in your efforts to give Hanako happiness.
Do you really think Hanako will be okay?
She isn't as fragile as you think. I don't know exactly what experiences she's lived through or what feelings she has in her mind, but she has managed to work her way through them until now. It's also my hope that giving her a little space will allow her to decide what she truly wants for herself and give her the initiative to reach out for it. Please have faith in Hanako. That's all I ask.
I guess I'll think about it for a while.
That's good. Being rash won't get you anywhere. I know that at times you may doubt your relationship to Hanako, but she does.
Lily cuts herself off and takes a moment to reconsider her words.
Please keep in mind that I wouldn't have befriended you if I hadn't thought you a fundamentally good person. You're a good friend both to myself and to Hanako.
Thank you. That helps. We share some small talk to try to lighten the atmosphere, but it feels very stilted. There's a lot I don't know about Lily's stay in Scotland, but after such a heavy subject, I want to be alone for a bit to think. After a few minutes, we end up saying our goodbyes, and I set my phone on my desk. Compared to Hanako's situation, mine feels utterly mundane. I still have both my parents. I had a reasonably normal childhood, and unlike many in Yamaku, my condition isn't immediately visible to the public. But then again, isn't this just an attempt to justify the way I've been acting towards her? That may well be what our past were like, but when it comes to the future, I still have no idea what I want to do. A teacher! In school, I've just been concentrated on each day's work, and I've put off more and more things to cater to Hanako. I recall the words Muto told me after Hanako's breakdown about the purpose of Yamaku and my education. In hindsight, he was probably trying to push exactly the same thing. A teacher! Just what have I been doing in the time since my heart attack? If I ever did manage to get Hanako out of her room and to open up, what then? I look out of my... A teacher! Wait, yeah, a teacher! Hey, I look out of my dormitory window as the sun slowly sets. It's a nice sight, but what I really savor is the quiet as the students return to the dormitory rooms. All I want to do now is think. I'm not sure how much time I have, but I want to work out where I'll go from here.
A teacher.
A teacher.
It'll get to the point where he's like hearing this in his head. And it'll get to the point where he'll be like, "What should I have for breakfast? A teacher."
Okay, nom 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 no.
Muto's like, "Bro, please stop chewing on my arm." Absorb. He's like part Kroot.
Yeah.
Like,
it's just like that anime face where it's just like that nom. He's just like cluffs. No. Since talking to Lily yesterday, I've wanted to try and move on from the listlessness I felt ever since coming to Yamaku. But even if I try to concentrate on the book in front of me, Hanako's empty seat at the back of the classroom looms larger than life. Every time I start getting focused, my eyes flick over to her desk again, and my mind starts spinning. Oh, hey.
Oh!
Hello, baby girl.
Forgot about her. Girl
Once more, my eyes drift over to it, but this time my vision is blocked by a certain other classmate with great boobies. Oh, hey, Miki. Oh, Skype-aru, why you do this? Skype-sama.
Oh my god.
And now you sound like a potato. But